Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome to DES114 Print Production and Color Theory. It is week 1, live lecture 1, and I just have to first say I apologize for the late last minute schedule change. I appreciate you guys being very flexible with me. This week is kind of crazy with my schedule, and unfortunately I had to schedule this very early lecture this Monday, which is Labor Day. So many of you are probably, kind of taking it easy for the long weekend, which is nice. And I guess that is the good part of being an online student, is that your schedules are more flexible. So you are able to access this recording, if you're listening to the recording, after you, kind of have your picnics today. So hopefully we'll see if anybody can join us this morning, but I really appreciate your flexibility. We typically will be meeting on Wednesday nights and also Thursday nights. Wednesday nights are going to be our lectures, our actual 2-hour lecture, and Thursday evening will be our multi-session, and it's not mandatory. It's just, something that could benefit you if you would like to come in and join us for extra feedback and review of the projects. All right, so let's get started here. What's on the agenda today? Well, we have welcomes and introductions to talk about, your announcements. We're going to look at some syllabus, grading, Canvas, look at the course, kind of a little housekeeping going on. We're also going to look at the course itself, the class, which is Print Production and Color Theory. We're going to be discussing the color wheel. That's pretty much what you guys are going to be working on this week. I think you'll really enjoy this project coming up. We're going to talk about additive and subtractive color models, and then also the 4 color relationships, so complementary, triadic, analogous, and split complementary. So if you guys are familiar with any of those terms, that's great. You're a step ahead. Might be a review, a refresher for some of you. So kind of stick with me here. Okay, just so I want to introduce you to me real quick here. And, I did post this to the introduction area, so make sure that you are also doing the same so we can learn more about you. My name is April Biss, and you can, just call me April, that's fine. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in graphic design, which I went to school for on ground for 4 years at a private school, college, La Roche College. And that was many years ago. I ended up getting my first advertising agency job right out of college for a year. And then after that, I moved to Ohio. And I actually got into another advertising firm. Worked there for about 3 or 4 years and transitioned into being a publication designer. Worked for a publication company as well in Akron, Ohio. And so I have a lot of experience in different different parts of the industry as far as design goes. I also have a freelance business that I started probably about 8 years ago that I still do. It's great. It's wonderful to be able to practice and teach at the same time. I taught for a college in Tampa. We moved to Tampa in 2006, and I lived there for 7 years, and I worked for publications down there, a few of them. And then I started teaching. I got into teaching for college there for 2 years on ground. And I fell in love with it. So that's kind of what pushed me into pursuing my master's degree. And I went to Savannah College of Art and Design. And that was all online. And I like to tell my students that because, I know where you've been. I can relate to your experiences. I did my master's, my graduate studies online. I graduated in 2012, so that was somewhat recent. And, it was such a great experience. But I like to tell you guys that because I understand, the inner workings of being an online student. And hopefully that'll allow me to be more flexible with you guys and understand what you guys are going through in certain parts of the course. So I have about 16 to 20 years of of design experience. Actually, I should say 20 years. I have that 16 years. In the design industry, like I said, I have a lot of different experiences, which really is nice to have, so I can give to you my experiences, you know, talk about my stories and, you know, kind of reflect upon what I've been through so far and give you guys some tips and tricks and all that good stuff. I have about 5 years in teaching design and higher education. I've been with Independence for, it's been 5 years. I think I might be coming up to my anniversary, which might be 6 years. So it's been a while and I love it. I just love what I do. I love you guys inspiring me, just as hopefully I'm going to inspire you guys. So yeah, I love what I do, and hopefully it shows. I have a daughter. She's 3 years old, and her name's Amelia May, and she's the light of my life. I have a dog as well. So for all of you people who have fur babies, I love pets. And his name is Santino. He's a Chiweenie. He's a part wiener dog and Chihuahua. He's a cool little guy, kind of crazy at times, but I love him. So, you know, if you want to, in your intro post, if you have any pictures that you want to share, you know, of your fur babies or your regular babies, you know, definitely share that with us. It's always nice to, you know, be connected with one another, because especially being an online student, because we don't see each other every day, you know, in a physical classroom. So networking, getting to know each other is really important. I can't even tell you how many times you know, there have been opportunities that open up to me from past alumni. You know, just keeping in touch is super important. So definitely keep that in mind going forward. So this is the part where we introduce yourselves, but, you know, it's so early in the morning and it's, you know, on a holiday day, probably not the best time to do a lecture, but we really don't have anyone in the lecture today. But if you can, go ahead and add this into your introduction post for this class. Go ahead and, you know, kind of introduce your name. Maybe you have a nickname you'd like to be called rather than your first name. Tell us where you're located, where you're currently living, maybe where you're from. You'd be amazed how many people, it's a small world. You'd be amazed how many people could be living right down the street from you that are in the same class. You would have never known it. I have one student in particular that lived probably about 45 minutes away from me. And she lived super close to where my parents live. So it was kind of neat to find that out. What's your major? You know, most of you guys are graphic arts, but, you know, you might want to talk about that. Experience with graphics applications. You know, how, in relation to your comfort level, you know, how much experience and comfort do you have in some of the Adobe programs? And maybe you do more than just the Adobe programs. Maybe you want to share some of your other experiences with other programs that are in the Creative Suite. What are your career goals? Maybe this is something that you want to state as well in your intro. You know, so maybe you have a dream in your mind or goals that you set that you're trying to achieve, which is great. I want to hear them. All right, so just a little few things here. Due dates, very important, because this is all part of the job too. When you guys go out in the real world, you know, the deadline is super important. So why not start good habits now? You guys are college students. You need to be responsible and hopefully turning in your work on time. So all assignments and assessments are due by Saturday by midnight Mountain Time for full credit. So communication regarding late work is key in this course. This will save you missed points. So make sure that, you know, you're open with me as soon as possible. If anything pops up, and I understand, you know, no one's perfect and life happens. So, you know, just make sure that you're communicating with me as soon as possible when something happens, so that I can be as flexible as I can with you and work with you going forward. You know, I've had students reach out to me at the final week and they haven't turned anything in since. And, you know, it's kind of like, well, you should have reached out to me earlier. I could have been flexible a little bit with you and kind of know what's going on, so that, you know, it's like you're not, you know, totally blowing off the course or whatever. But week 4 assignments cannot be turned in late. That's just a little reminder there. Most of you guys know this. Grades are due at a certain time, so we cannot cannot accept late submissions at that point. Your original discussion post is due by Wednesday by midnight. Just remember that as well. I mean, those are much needed points for sure. 2 responses to student discussions are due by Saturday by midnight, and you must post on at least 2 different days, and late discussion posts will not be accepted past the Saturday deadline for the week. That's important, and there's a reason for that. You know, if you're posting after the discussion due date, say you're posting your week 1 and it's already week 2, you're not going to gain as much from it because nobody's really going to go back and look at it and respond and read it. So, you know, at that point, you're not really gaining what you should from that discussion. You need to post as soon as possible so that you can really participate and engage with your fellow classmates to really get the most out of the discussion. We have some an exciting platform that I'm going to show you that is actually launched in this class as kind of a testing. We're testing you guys. This is the first class they're actually putting it in, but I think it's cool. It's called Backpack, and it's part of the discussion. It is the discussion, so we'll go over that today as well. All right, so the course objectives for this class, which is the Print Production Color Theory course, for this class are identify all parts of the color wheel and articulate common color relationships. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. Differentiate between spot and process color application and appreciate spot and color usage, or appropriate spot and color usage. I'm sorry, my throat's a little scratchy today. I'm trying to wake up here. Successfully work with PMS colors and define their unique features. And PMS colors are Pantone matching system colors. We'll talk about that as we go forward. Develop a personal branded print bid sheet for use on freelance print design jobs. Demonstrate mastery of creating packaged print ready InDesign files. Demonstrate mastery of basic InDesign layout skills and including paragraph styles, baseline grid, typography, and image frames. So lots of stuff for sure, but we'll be completing these objectives as we go forward. All right, succeeding in this course. So read the announcements. You know, I just posted about the lecture change. I also emailed all of you about that. If it's super important, I will email it to you as well. But announcements are important. They contain pertinent information pertaining to the class, including links, reminders, scheduling, etc. And this is how I communicate with you. So, you know, make sure you're paying attention to those announcements and, you know, reading through all of them. Participate in the discussions each week. Super important, you know, it all adds up, all the points. Make sure you're participating and gaining as much as you can from this discussion forum. I used to think when I was in going for my master's, excuse me, that was a sneeze. We had discussions just like you guys did online. And at first, I remember thinking, oh, I'm not going to really gain too much from this. This is kind of like a waste of time, you know? But by the end of my graduate studies, I actually thought completely opposite. But only because what the other fellow classmates put into it. It wouldn't really have been so beneficial if they didn't provide such great information and responses to my posts. And that kind of made me inspired and make me want to really pay attention to what I did post and put more thought into it. And what's cool about it is if you respond to a student in a way that shows them a different perspective and maybe what they're thinking, it changes the way you see things. And that's kind of what I learned the most from my discussions. And it really kind of opened up a lot of different angles and perspectives that, you know, I never would have thought of. And I learned a lot. So that's kind of funny how my mind shifted from the beginning of school when I was, you know, kind of first freshman to the end. I just kind of reflected back and said, wow, you know, those discussions really I kind of was thinking, you know, it was going to be a waste of time, but it wasn't. It was totally, you know, beneficial, and it surprised me how much I gained from that. So make sure you're putting in as much as you can to help each other out as well. And you guys can gain as much as you can from the discussions. Complete assignments on time. Well, that's a no-brainer, right? You know, get that in, succeeding the course. Make sure you're doing the daily checkpoints. You know, that's every day you get a chance to earn 5 extra bonus points. So extra credit, I should say. Attend the live sessions. We will be demonstrating how to do your assignments in each live session. So make sure you're attending. It's kind of like the meat and potatoes, I like to say, of the class. Come to the multi-session if you need help. I will be logged into the multi-session. The multi-sessions on Thursday night are not mandatory, but very beneficial if you need extra help from me. I will be logged in for those hours. You know, I will be sitting there. So, you know, if you want to pop in or whatever to get extra help or feedback, you know, come on in and join me. And communication is key. Like I said, anytime you're stuck, maybe having issues, wondering something, maybe enjoying something in the class that you want to express, you know, definitely let me know. Reach out to me. It's always nice to hear from you guys. And, you know, if I need to help you push forward and to succeed in this class, that's what I'm here for. All right, so the live sessions for this class are typically, and this week is going to be an exception for sure, Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., that's Mountain Time. And multi-sessions, again, are open, or Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Multi-sessions are open for students to come with assignment problems, questions, or one-on-one tutoring. This gives you ample time during the week to get assignments done. And any outside help needed, the Student Success Center is open with tutoring available and no appointment necessary. I'm going to go share my screen for Canvas here just to show you the course real quick. Just a few things to look at here. All right, so daily checkpoints again, the first button here, you can check in here every day and do some extra credit points, watch a video, read an article, and answer the question. The Shark academic resources are shown here. The live sessions, this is where you go to come in, to log in to be here live. And also, I just wanted to show you this real quick. Here are our lecture days and times, or our day and then our multi-session day. If you're confused about, you know, what time time zone that you're in, sorry. I have a little breakdown of Pacific, Mountain, Central, and Eastern time for each of these. So make sure you know where you are and base that off of that. Here's the live session link. And then the recorded sessions will be actually placed here. So lecture 2 is actually where we're at now. I think I put lecture 1 on my slide, so I apologize. But this is where the recording after we talk today will be placed. You will be watching this video first. See how it says watch the first video? You'll be watching that first. And then you'll be watching the one that I'm just ending today here. And then so on. So you see there are some videos that you need to see first before the actual live lecture video. So, you know, if you need to kind of, it is, you know, this is an hour and a half long, and then mine will be 2 hours. So make sure you're, you know, kind of keeping track of that and listening to those recordings if you're not coming in live, especially. All right, let's go back to the home page here. Okay, I may have to mute my mic here. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the other information in here is the course information. This is just about the course itself. Very interesting to read through, just about the objectives that we're going to be learning. Prerequisites. It also has your textbook in here. What's nice about this, it has a breakdown of your topics for this week, or for every week. So week 1, for instance, it says A, color palettes with meaning. So it'll be emotions related to colors, the color wheel, primary, secondary, color schemes, tertiary, complementary, triadic, analogous, split complementary, and monochromatic. So this is all kind of what we're going to be discussing this week and going over, and so on and so forth. So you kind of get an idea of, okay, this is what we're going to be going over. And then there's a course task list. So this is nice because it gives you an outline of what you need to prepare as far as time-wise, each of the sections of this class. So if you're like, okay, the live lectures are 4 hours, I have to plan for that. Reading is 0.69 hours, so, you have to make room for that as well. And then discussions could be 2 hours, involvement, and then daily checkpoints. And then that's in class. And then out of class, there's extra hours here for your reading, discussion, assignments, 3 hours there. So it's kind of giving you an estimate of how many hours you will be participating on each of these sections, which is kind of nice. Also, I forgot to show you, in this course information, you have tabs up here. So you have your syllabus as well up here. So you can kind of check that out. And then general guidelines. Excuse me. Course participation, late policy, kind of brush up on that stuff. Instructor contact information, which we'll look at here. There's the library link. Excuse me. If you need extra help and I'm not available, Student Success Center is here. It's a great resource. Readings and videos. Let's click on that. And again, this is kind of some of these. This is listed in your live lecture area as well, but this is extra content and articles in week 1 that you can check out. Some are required and some are optional, so make sure you're going through all of that. Help desk if you have a question, computer support, career preparation. About the instructor, I just wanted to show you this real quick. This is me. This is my email address. This is actually my cell phone number, and this is my Skype name. So if you need to get in contact with me, I prefer email. But if I have students who call me too. I have my phone on me all the time, so I try to get back to you as soon as possible within 24 hours. But go ahead and send me an email. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If not, go ahead, give me a call. I'm here for you guys. I want you all to succeed, so I'm here. This is the course modules, so you can kind of see the breakdown of each week here. So, if you're looking to get into your ebook or lynda.com resources, you can go here as well. And then each week are kind of broken down into each of these hyperlinks as well. Course description here. And this is the new discussion area here. So you will be going to the discussion area here, but this is how you access the pack back. And this is something new that's been implemented this mod. So hopefully we won't have any issues with it, but it's pretty cool. I just completed a training on it, and it's kind of interesting how they started to redo the discussions and how we go forward with them. All right, so with that being said, actually let me go into the discussions. Let me go to week 1 here first. I'm going to get too far behind. All right, so week 1 overview, learning objectives, differentiate between additive and subtractive. I think I went all over these, so I don't necessarily have to list all these. I don't have to read them out loud for you because I already did. Go ahead and read this or watch this video here. So we will be talking about color, and there'll be a lot of color theory review here. Introduce yourself, like I said. Go ahead and post an intro. I already posted mine here. If you want to post a picture, you can, or read through this. So this class has 2 major focuses. One is color, and the second is print production. The 2 work hand in hand, and we must understand both to successfully produce what we see on our screens. So let's start this mod off with a fun introduction related to what we are about to learn. As you introduce yourself, let us know about anything you have professionally printed from a file that you created from scratch. Have you ever had anything yet? If not, what would you like to create first? If so, how was your experience? Do you have any helpful advice to share from your experience? Please share and introduce yourself below so together we can build a strong learning community. So, maybe you had experience working for a print shop, or maybe, just being a freelance designer, or maybe being at home and you're printing stuff out, or maybe you sent something to print to a small print shop or a place that prints. Even to the smallest jobs, what was your experience? If not, what would you create first to try that? It could be the smallest print job to the biggest. Excuse me. I've been on many print press checks myself with clients, and it's definitely an experience. I've had a lot of printers who gave us tours of print shops, and just lots of interesting things going on, and a lot of things that you won't really touch upon until maybe you graduate, unless you're actually working in the field right now. But there's just so much to learn, and we will touch upon some things that are the fun foundations of what you need to know going forward. But go ahead and let us know, if you have any experience with a professional printed piece or not, and go ahead and kind of give us a little bit of, who you are. All right, so that is the discussions. Or I'm sorry, that's part of the discussion. Let me go forward here because I clicked on the wrong button. All right. Okay, so let's discuss the PackBack software here that's connected to our discussion. So this isn't a normal discussion that you're used to. This is going to be a new approach to discussions, but I think you guys will really like it. I'm going to read through this. Maybe we'll watch this video here so we can understand a little bit more about PackBack. Discussions in this course are through PackBack. It is explained on this page in detail, or you can watch the video at the bottom of the page. Basically, instead of answering questions provided by the university, you get to ask questions about the topic. So you're going to read the information below before posting your questions and replies on the Backpack site here. And there should be a URL here, but I'll kind of get to that here. All right, so let's see this little video, and then we'll go forward with the discussion.
At PackBack, we're curious about curiosity, and we've been wondering, what happens when students learn to ask great questions? Today's students are being taught to answer questions, not ask them. They're graded on how well they're able to memorize facts, and not on how well they question their world. But when students start becoming fearlessly curious, they go on to do some pretty incredible things. Did you know that water on Mars was discovered by Luju Oja, a 25-year-old grad student and heavy metal guitarist who's been curious about space since high school? Or take a look at Liz Flores, a former finance student who became a top Chicago artist after she was brave enough to ask, "Am I made for something more?" Or even check out PackBack. We're a student-founded company from Illinois State, and we exist to help wake up your fearless, relentless curiosity so that you can go on to change the world. If you're using PackBack questions this semester, here's how to get started. Go to packback.co/questions and join your class curiosity community using the access code from your professor. In your community, you'll see your classmates and the questions that they're curious about. The best questions and answers to post on PackBack are open-ended and thought-provoking. They shouldn't be able to be answered with a simple yes or no. Questions on PackBack should help you gain real experience for the future by applying class information to real-world problems, situations, and examples. A great question should spark discussion and push the limits of what we know, and it's okay if it doesn't have one right answer. It should take class material and go one step beyond to make connections, create unique ideas, and think critically. It's harder than you'd think to ask a really great question. But in the words of Voltaire, judge a man not by his answers, but by his questions. But when you are ready to start answering questions on Packback, you can answer anything that interests you. Pull in your opinion and your personal experiences, and share your own unique ideas. And whenever possible, share the resources, videos, and articles that inspired you to help inspire your classmates. We moderate the questions and answers in Packback because we care about your education and we care about your curiosity. We want the next generation of college grads to use their knowledge from their education to become the next great innovators in their fields. We believe that every student is naturally curious, that every student has the ability to ask a great question, and we're just here to help. If you ask, who was the first man on the moon, you know your classmates are going to say Neil Armstrong, and you won't learn anything new. So ask what you really want to know. Ask what the search engines can't tell you. Ask the big questions like, what more do we have yet to discover? Curiosity pushes us to push limits. It pushes us to chase the impossible, to map the universe. So start asking big questions on Packback and see just how big your world can become.
Okay, pretty cool. Kind of a neat approach to discussions. Definitely different than what we're used to, but I'm excited to, this is my first time using this as well. I think they just launched this mod for certain classes. So, let's kind of work through it together, and, let me know if you have any questions. I might have, I'm learning as well, so I'll probably have questions as well. But all right, so let's read through this background and, kind of take a look at all of this. All right, so for discussion 1, as designers put together color palettes for a project or campaign, they use tools like Adobe Color where they can organize their color libraries. And because it's cloud-based, it will make it a snap to bring chosen palettes into Adobe software swatch panels. It is also very easy to keep all of your swatches organized by client, job number, or however you want to organize them, because you can custom name each of your libraries. Imagine setting up a color library for a client's campaign, and it doesn't matter what program you need to use for the Adobe CC Suite. Those colors will always be at your fingertips to keep your campaign color theme consistent. No guesswork or not finding where you wrote them down. Kind of neat. The world is full of inspiring color combinations. Think of the colors of fall, winter, spring, or summer. With each new season comes a new palette, created by nature itself. These color combinations instantly bring feelings with them, something that professional graphic designers need to be keenly aware of as they practice their craft in the world. Consider the colors of fall. So you have burnt oranges, rich dark browns, and deep reds. The colors of fall bring with them a feeling of longevity, as if something had been present for quite some time. By contrast, the lively colors of spring, the bright greens, yellows, and reds, suggest something vibrant and new. The darker fall colors might suggest stability, having come with age, while the bright pop of spring colors suggests fresh and young. The nature of the client and project determines which colors to utilize on a project. It is time to learn to set our own color preferences to the side so that the project, not what we like or dislike, creates the palette. It is also important to consider how color is perceived across the world so we can make color suggestions based on who our client target market is. Because it says, please watch the video on the psychology of color to get started on your research. Take notes on which colors suggest which emotions for use in completing your discussions for this week. All right, so go ahead and watch that video. It's about 6 minutes long. You may want to review the article below to gain some direction on the symbolism of various colors and their importance in different cultures. Go ahead and click on that. Kind of neat little article here about each color. Kind of nice imagery as well. Oops. Okay, here's the prompt. So the psychology of color can have implications in various cultures around the world. Knowing the audience is extremely important to the success of the work completed. If you were to help a client by creating a poster for a theater production, What types of questions might you have? Think about composition, audience, emotions, location of poster and production, and symbolism. What color schemes might be appropriate for a production for The Wizard of Oz, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and Dal M for Murder? So at a minimum, you must submit to the Packback community page URL one main question that includes a valid question for relevance to color scheme usage and its impact or implications for your life or future career. So think about a valid question that is relevant to the color scheme usage and how that kind of its purpose is within your future career. A discussion of the question of 150 plus words explaining your thoughts behind the question and some guidance for other students who will be responding. And there's an automatic word count, I believe, in there that we pull from, so make sure you're reaching that. 1 APA citation and reference, and then 2 replies to questions of other students of 50 plus words each. All right, responses can be addressed to any questions, but must be your own words, no copy and paste. Each reply unique, no repeating something you already said, and substantial in nature. Remember that part of the discussion grade is submitting on time. The 20% is the late penalty if you don't, and using proper grammar, spelling, etc. 10 points of each week are exceptional curiosity points. Curiosity points are assigned automatically to your questions and replies and are based on a combination of factors including word count and post quality. Make sure you're kind of paying attention to that. All right, let's go into Packback here. Just click on that Packback to get to that, to access that. And there's a little tutorial here that you can play. We already did this, so we're good to go. The community guidelines. Let's take a look at this. What not to post. We have community guidelines. So obviously questions that are phrased as a statement, not a question, should not belong in Packback. Questions that are closed-ended, only one right answer. Posts that are plagiarized, obviously. Profanity, offensive language. Questions about class logistics, test, homework schedule. Questions or answers that are not related to the subject matter of the community. Duplicates of other questions or answers already posted, or questions or answers that are intended for cheating. What are the most interesting applications of GMOs is an example, or of what would be flagged and removed. When is the next test? Okay, so this first one would be flagged because it's a question about class logistics. And then, all of the other ones. So I think you guys pretty much got it. How to ask a great question. So the goal of Packback is to create a community where everyone is sharing questions that create valuable discussion, challenge existing ways of looking at the world, and uncover brilliant new ideas for applying class learning to the new world. So these are 3 components of a great question to post on Packback. It is open for discussion and can't just be Googled. So that means it has more than one possible value response so that many people can share ideas and discuss. It shares interesting knowledge, source, or ideas. Great questions share interesting information, sources, or ideas from other thinkers, and take them one step further to create a new idea or perspective. It builds connection between the class and the real world. Great questions apply and connect class information to real-world problems or concepts from other classes. Some of the most creative thinking comes from combining 2 unrelated ideas, a technique known as combinatory thinking. So pick the best question to ask on Packback. Which of the following questions would be the best way to get the most discussion and fit Packback's community guidelines? If you wanted to know more about the color of the sky, which question would be best? What color is the sky? What do you guys think? Why does the sky appear blue? Most of the time the sky appears blue. Why? What color do you think the sky excuse me, What color do you think the sky would be on a planet with a different atmospheric composition, and why? So I would pick this one. This question is great because it has many potential answers. It takes a class topic and applies it to another scenario and asks for the community to theorize what the answer would be. So this is kind of a great way to kind of pose a question here. All right, and then you just finish, and we kind of already started the tutorial here. Not sure why this is going through. Let me try to get out of here. Not letting me go in. Okay, let me go back out here. You know, some of this stuff could be happening on your end too, so this is kind of important for me to see what's going on here. Okay, looks like I'm not being able to get in here. Hold on one second, guys. All right, not sure what's happening here. It's not letting me go past the screen. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can just click through here. Maybe it's because I have to click in here. All right, not sure what's going on here, but anyway, let me see. Let me see if I log out, log back in. I don't know if that's going to make a difference here. Hold on one second, you guys. Like I said, this might be something that we're learning together here. I don't want to actually log out though, so let me come back here. If I need to, I can address this on Thursday as well, if this is not working the way it should be here. Yeah, I might have to do that. Let me know if you guys have any issues too going forward. I will definitely take a look at that. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But the idea is to, once you get in there, you will be posting a question in regards to the prompt. So let me go back to that again. Okay, so we talked about all that. So the prompt is basically asking you, if you, knowing the audience is extremely important to the success of the work completed, if you were to help a client by creating a poster for a theater production, what type of questions might you have? You might want to think about certain things in these bulleted points here. And then talk about what color schemes might be appropriate for a print production for these particular themes here. So maybe, you know, one of your questions would be, it's talking about if you're help client creating a poster for a theater production. Somebody came to you and said, you know, I'm creating a poster for a theater production and it's called The Wizard of Oz. How would you use, what type of colors would you use for that and why? So you might bring up about the different themes here going on. You might want to bring up about in the question of how do audiences react to certain colors within movies or something like that. So you might want to kind of, you know, think about think about the psychology of color in your question as well. Composition, your audience, your emotions. Where will the poster be? You know, will it be more impactful if the poster is going to be placed, you know, on a busy street, or maybe in schools? You know, it's all based on the audience as well. You know, so think about all of those different scenarios. There's actually an example of the discussion post here, which might be very helpful for you guys for just how it will look, the overall look of it, you know, the sources and how the post will look. There was also, I think, a sample right here. Click on the sample one. This is a good sample to look at for more specifics. Let me get that open here. Okay. I'll just open this up. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so one of the questions would be, since the client wants us to design posters, are there colors that work better for print? That would be a sample question. And then that's what they would post in PackBack. And then they would answer themselves. When it comes to starting work for a client, I think the more questions, the better. A few questions I would ask are, one, what type of feeling do you want your poster to have? Two, what colors do you like and dislike? What's the due date? What's the budget? And there's citations there. Who's your target audience? Where will you be advertising these posters? Can you please tell me about the production I am designing for, contact information, and special instructions? For my color palette choices, I think I would stay a little more traditional and use greens for the Emerald City, and yellows for the Yellow Brick Road and Wizard of Oz. For How the Grinch Stole Christmas, I think the traditional greens, reds for the trees and clothes, and whites for snow work. For Dial M for Murder, I would use red to represent blood and black to represent death. So be very specific, you know, why you're choosing those colors, and then here's the reference. So that's kind of a nice example to show you. Obviously, you don't want to copy that, but you know, frame it in your own words. All right, in the meantime, I am going to go and talk to somebody about getting into PackBack. I'm not sure if that's going to be only on my end or if you guys will have issues with it, but I will definitely be contacting somebody about that because I cannot get into it. Let's try it again. Looks like I can't get past the tutorial screen here. I am logged in, but I can't get past this part. So I need to figure out what's going on there. I apologize. But it's kind of like, it'll open it up and it's kind of like a regular discussion. You can post your question and then answer it and then respond to your fellow students. So I think it'll become very intuitive once you get in there. Like I said, I had a training on it and I didn't think it was that hard to understand. I just was wanting to show that to you. But we will be meeting on Thursday for the multi-session if you have questions or whatever. And it seems like we're having trouble with getting to understand this whole new PackBack area. You know, I can definitely be flexible with you guys this week on getting your initial posts in because we will be meeting Thursday night if you have questions. All right. Let's go back to the idea of talking about the color wheel because we're going to be creating a color wheel for this week. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So the color wheel or color circle is the basic tool for combining colors. The first circular color diagram was designed by Sir Isaac Newton in 1666, a long time ago. The color wheel is designed so that virtually any colors you pick from, it will look good together. Over the years, many variations of the basic design have been made, but the most common version is a wheel of 12 colors on the RYB or artistic color model. Traditionally, there are numbers, I think I should say RGB. Traditionally, there are numbers of color combinations that are considered especially pleasing. These are called color harmonies or color chords, and they consist of 2 or more colors with a fixed relation to the color wheel. Most of you guys kind of understand all of this. The color wheel in the RYB or subtractive color model, the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. There we go. You get red, yellow, blue. The 3 secondary colors, green, orange, and purple, are created by mixing 2 primary colors. Another 6 tertiary colors are created by mixing primary and secondary. So that's the example of those. Primary colors, in theory, the primary colors are the root of every other hue imaginable. So the primary pigments used in manufacture of paint comes from the pure source element of that hue. There are no other pigments blended in to alter the formula. Think of the 3 primaries as the parents in the family of colors. That's a good way to think of it. In paint, pigments, pure yellow, pure red, and pure blue are the only hues that can't be created by mixing any other colors together. So printer inks and digital primaries are referred to as yellow, magenta, and cyan. You have your secondary colors. When you combine any 2 of the pure primary hues, you get 3 new mixtures called secondary colors. Think of 3 secondaries as the children in the family of colors. So you have yellow, plus you have yellow and orange, and then yellow and green. Excuse me. So you're mixing these colors. So red and yellow make orange. Red and blue make purple. And yellow and blue make green. The color wheel, when you mix a primary and its nearest secondary on the basic color wheel, you create 6 new mixtures called tertiary colors. Think of the 6 tertiary colors of the grandchildren in the family of colors, since their genetic makeup combines a primary and secondary color. That kind of makes sense. So yellow and orange equals yellow-orange. Red and orange equals red-orange. Red and violet equals red-violet. Blue and violet equals blue-violet. Blue and green equals blue-green. And yellow and green equals yellow and green. Yellow-green. Additive color, we kind of talked about this term here. What does this mean? The additive color system involves light emitted directly from a source. Before an object reflects the light, the additive reproduction process mixes various amounts of red, green, and blue light to produce other colors. Combining one of these additive primary colors with another produces the additive secondary colors, cyan, magenta, yellow. Combining all 3 primary colors produces white. Television and computer monitors create color using the primary colors of light. Each pixel on a monitor screen starts out as black. When the red and green and blue phosphors of the pixel are illuminated simultaneously, that pixel becomes white. This phenomenon is called additive color. Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. All right. So additive color, to illustrate additive color, imagine 3 spotlights, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 blue, focused from the back of an ice arena on skaters in an ice show. Where the blue and green spotlights overlap, the color cyan is produced. Where the blue and red spotlights overlap, the color magenta is produced. Where the red and green spotlights overlap, the color yellow is produced. When added color, red, green, and blue lights produce what we perceive as white light. Kind of neat. So as mentioned before, television screens and computer monitors are examples of systems that use additive color. Thousands of red, green, and blue phosphor dots make up the images on video monitors. The phosphor dots emit light when activated electronically, and it is a combination of different intensities of red, green, and blue phosphor dots that produces all of the colors on a video monitor. Because the dots are so small and close together, we do not see them individually, but see the colors formed by the mixture of light. Colors often vary from one monitor to another. This is not new information to anyone who has visited an electronics store with various brands of televisions on display. Also, colors on monitors change over time. Currently, there are no color standards for the phosphors used in manufacturing monitors for the graphic arts industry. You have subtractive colors. So we just talked about additive color. Let's talk about subtractive color. So photographs, magazines, and other objects of nature, such as an apple, create color by subtracting or absorbing certain wavelengths of color while reflecting other wavelengths back to the viewer. This phenomenon is called subtractive color. A red apple is a good example of subtractive color. The apple really has no color. It has no light energy of its own. It merely reflects the wavelengths of white light that cause us to see red and absorbs most of the other wavelengths, which evokes the sensation of red. The viewer or detector can be the human eye, film and camera, or light sensing instrument. So the subtractive color system involves colorants and reflected light. Subtractive color starts with an object, often a substrate such as paper or canvas that reflects light and use colorants such as pigments or dyes to subtract portions of the white light illuminating an object to produce other colors. If an object reflects all the white light back to the viewer, it appears white. If an object absorbs or subtracts all the light and illuminating it, no light is reflected back to the viewer and it appears black. It is a subtractive process that allows everyday objects around us to show color. This is an 1877 color photo, and a French pioneer of color photography took it. So the overlapping subtractive yellow, cyan, red, magenta image elements can be seen clearly along the edges of the image. Color paintings, color photography, and all color printing processes use the subtractive process to reproduce color. In these cases, the reflective substrate is canvas, painting, or paper, photographs, prints, which usually are white. Printing presses use color inks that act as filters and subtract portions of the white light, striking the image on paper to produce other colors. Pigment inks are transparent, which allow light to pass through to and reflect off of the paper base. It is the paper that reflects any unabsorbed light back to the viewer. The offset printing press uses cyan, magenta, and yellow, CMY, processed color inks, and a fourth ink is called black, so CMYK. The black printing ink is designated K to avoid confusion with B for blue. Overprinting one transparent printing ink with another produces the subtractive secondary colors red, green, and blue. All right, you have complementary colors, so colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. And this is an example on the right, showing red and green. They are considered to be complementary colors, so red and green. The high contrast of complementary colors creates a vibrant look, especially when used at full saturation. This color scheme must be managed well so it's not jarring. There's instances where it might not work. Complementary colors are tricky to use in large doses, but work well when you want something to stand out. And complementary colors are really bad for text. So this is very difficult to read. There's a certain vibration that goes on with these two colors. So this would be kind of, something that you don't want to do. Did I hurt your eyes? Okay, triad colors. So triadic color scheme uses colors that are evenly spaced around the color wheel. Triadic color harmonies tend to be quite vibrant, even if you use pale or unsaturated versions of your hues. To use triadic harmony successfully, the colors should be carefully balanced, let one color dominate, and use the two others for accent. So you have this one, for example, is the purple, orange, and green. You have analogous colors. So analogous colors, color schemes are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. They usually match well and create serene and comfortable designs. The color schemes are often found in nature and are harmonious and pleasing to the eye. Make sure you have enough contrast when choosing analogous color scheme. That's one thing to be aware of. Choose one color to dominate, a second to support. The third color is used along with black, white, or gray as an accent. So you're showing here blue, green, and lime green color. You have your split complementary colors, and it's a variation of the complementary color scheme. In addition to the base color, it uses the two colors adjacent to its complement. So this color scheme has the same strong visual contrast as the complementary color scheme, but has less tension. The split complementary color scheme is often a good choice for beginners because it's difficult to mess up. So you have the pink, orange, and green split complementary example here. Okay, before we get into assignment 1, I'm going to take a short break here, about 5 minutes. And we'll continue on with the assignment 1 details, and then I will start the demo. Okay, so I'll be back in 5. Okay, looks like our 5 minutes is over here. I got some coffee in my system, so hopefully my voice is sounding a little bit better here. All right, so we talked about the different color schemes here. We talked about additive and subtractive colors. So let's go ahead and take a look at your assignment 1. I'll go through each, I'll go through your assignment and then we'll do a demo. Okay, so you're going to create a color wheel with the 12 basic primary, secondary, and tertiary colors and duplicate it 3 times. So you will have a total of 4 artboards or layers. Be sure to have the colors tangent and next to its related color. Feel free to be creative with your color wheel, so you don't have to necessarily have a traditional one. On each of your color wheels, visually represent the following color relationships with lines in our triangles. So complementary, triadic, analogous, and split complementary are the 4 color primary color schemes that you're going to be showing. You only have to show 1 color combo on each wheel. Not every analogous combination needs to be shown on the color wheel. Name each color wheel with the color relationship you are showing and use good typography and adhere to the principles of design. All right, and we'll go over the assessment 1 as well. I think that, let me see here. Yeah, let's take a look at that in a second here. I'm going to kind of go forward into your assignment 1 first. Here is, and I kind of had this done a little quickly here. Let me change this typeface here. See, character palette here. And I'm just going to type a regular, let's see. You might be hearing my dog here. He's kind of freaking out. So he must be outside. All right. My apologies ahead of time. So as you can see here, there are 4 artboards, and I'll show you how to create those if you don't know how. Just regular square, I believe these are larger ones. You could probably just do like 4 by 4 if you want, 4 inches by 4 inches. And then the color wheel is created, and then you have this little marker that's created. Excuse me, that would signify, each of these examples here, which these are kind of all set as default. So you'll have the word complementary, triadic, analogous, and split complementary showing here. Probably make these a little smaller. Same size, same typeface. Excuse me. I don't know if I'm having allergy issues today, but I just seem like I'm coughing a lot here. All right. So complementary is actually right where it needs to be. And again, this was created separately. So we have the circle and then the little signifier here. It doesn't have to look exactly like this. You can do your own thing. Let's group this. But at this point, this is a complementary color because they're opposite of each other on the color wheel. You can even just kind of move it around, show another one. It's up to you on what you want to show. The triadic. This would be a little different because what we're doing for the triadic, would be pull in my artboard here. You would actually have to do a triangle for this one. So what I would do is just copy and paste this line, and I'll put it right where this is, and then choose the rotate tool, and we're going to say, if I'm pointing at green down here, let me put this over here. Makes sense. And then I'll kind of have the end point down here and then slightly go up here. Oops. So it would be the purple that you'd want this to kind of go to. And then this would also rotate as well. But what I think what would be smart is, let's get this one done first, where it needs to be, and then we can duplicate this one. Just slightly over. About there, okay? Then you can eliminate this one, and you can copy and paste this one, and then what you have to do is go to your rotate tool and hold that tool down so that you have the reflection tool. Double click on that and hit preview, and all you need to do is flip it on the axis vertically. That way you get the same angle on it. Okay. And then all you need to do now is copy and rotate this so that you have a perfectly straight line. Or you could just create a new line, you know, if you can't get that completely straight across. So what we're pointing at is the triadic colors on this color wheel, which are bring this to front, Alt drag a copy over. And I probably clean this up a little bit because it seems like it's a little off here. There we go. So you got the purple, you got the orange, and the green. Now what's cool about this is once you get this set in place, just like the other one, you can select all your markers and do a group, so object group. And then you can rotate this, use the rotate tool. You might need to kind of move it off here, but you know, once you rotate it, you got a nice, you know, a nice way of seeing other colors. You might even, this might actually work a little bit, but let me see. What's the thickness of this? An 8 point. Do just like a triangle so that you know the shape is perfect. Make it larger here. Oops. Thickness. That way you don't have to mess around with worrying about if, you know, aligning the actual separate lines. This is kind of nice because it's already in there. Make sure it's the same thickness. And then you can place your dots on there. And that actually might be the way to go for sure. It's a little bit nicer looking there. Okay, so that's triadic. Excuse me, let me rotate that again and see if it group rotate. If I hold down the shift key, it'll snap to, there we go. Yep, there you go. Just gonna move it over. So that would be an example for triadic. Analogous, it's the same colors on the wheel. Same 3 colors next to each other on the wheel. So for this one, you know, instead of having, you would just copy and paste or alt drag. Oops. Alt drag, here we go. Then take your line tool and go ahead and connect them. And I believe it was an 8. So yeah, here we go. There we go. That'd be analogous. And again, you can group these. and move them around. You know, if you want to rotate them, or not rotate them, but move them around and then rotate them, you can do that as well. Okay, split complementary. Okay, so this would be two adjacent colors split. So for instance, take the white arrow and you can actually move that point over. Copy paste. Go ahead and do your reflect tool to get that same angle that we just did. There we go. We just need a nice little line over here. This one and this one can align a little bit better there. Here we go. And bring it forward. So that would be split complementary. Okay. So this is pretty much like what you guys need to do for the first assignment part. Oops. And let me go back to the actual assignment here and open this up so we can kind of take a look into Canvas here. Okay. I'm going to have you read through all of the background here. I won't read this out loud. I'll go right to the prompt. So for this assignment, you'll be creating a color wheel and then applying your understanding of some common color schemes to it. There will be 4 color wheels total, each demonstrating an instance where one of the following occurs. Like I said, complementary triad, analogous, split complementary. Create your assignment in Illustrator. Oh, document size 11 inches by 10 inches by 11 inches, so 4 artboards total. So it does give you specs for the size. Create a wheel on the first artboard utilizing the bright color swatches. Swatches options panel open, swatches, library color properties bright for the primary, secondary colors. Use Illustrator's blend tool to create the tertiary colors as shown in the tutorial. You will be straightforward with this using circles in a traditional circular pattern, or you can do it creative by changing up the shapes, layout, but you must keep the correct order. Make sure your colors are in order: red, red, orange, orange, yellow, yellow, green, for example. This will ensure that your color schemes work properly. As long as the relationships are in the above order and are easily to identify, have fun with this. Duplicate your color wheel to the other 3 artboards once you're done with the first one. Might be easier. Indicate one color scheme on each board using lines or something similar to show the relationship. You only need one instance of each relationship. And then you're going to export your 4 boards to multi-page PDF and then name it as such. So once you're done with that, oh, and how you get the colors here, I wanted to show you this real quick. Okay, let's go to okay, let me open this up. I actually got this online, which I thought was very helpful. Let me open it up here. Okay, so this is a 12-step color wheel here. And I just found this online. I can post this to announcements if you need it. But it gives you the color RGB codes. So you can type in the color codes. Say for red is 255. So red would be 255, green would be 0, and blue would be 0. So that's what you would type in. So let's take a look at that. So when you're creating your color wheel, if you wanted to come up with this red color, go ahead and click on your fill and make sure in the red is 255 and 0 and 0 for green and blue. Click OK. So that's kind of how you would do that. So you can use that as a guide. All right. All right, so I'm going to show you real quick. Go File New. This is how you would start this project. File New, because I already showed you it finished, sort of, in Illustrator. And you're going to do a new size, so it'll be 10 by 11, I think it said. It looks good. This is one way that you can do a color wheel. You don't have to necessarily do, this particular design. There's so many different ways that you can do this, but just show you, quickly how to create a color wheel if you're kind of wondering. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take the circle tool in your tool palette. Go ahead and drag that out. You can give it a no fill. Let's bring up your layers here too. All right, we'll name this wheel, for color wheel. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go with that selected, go up to Object, and you're going to go to Offset Path. Or Path, I should say, and then Offset Path, sorry. All right, so let's choose that. And then when this box appears, choose Preview. And where it says the miter limit, you're going to type in, or something similar. I'm going to type in 40 and see what that looks like. Oh, you know what? No, we don't want this. We want it. We want, oh, okay, we want this. Oops, let me cancel that here. Okay. Okay, this is what we're going to do here. Let me do a smaller circle. Okay. Huh. Okay, let's change this to, there we go. That's what we wanted. All right, this is what was changing it. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that this is set to like around 1 or 1.5, and then the miter limit is 40. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to group both circles. Okay, so hold down the Shift key. With the outer circle selected, hold down Shift and select that second circle in there. And you're going to go to Object, Compound Path, and Make. Okay, what that's going to do is it's going to combine your paths together. Okay, then you're going to lock this layer. You're going to create a new layer. You're going to name this Lines. Okay. Then you're going to Alt-Shift-Drag to make a straight line and stretch from the center here. So you're going to take this line tool and you're going to put it in the center. So it should intuitively tell you it's in the center. Hold down the Shift key and drag. Oh, not doing it. Alt-Shift-Drag. That's fine. So that you see a line like this and it goes just beyond your circle. So it's a vertical line just going above and below your circle here. So Alt-Shift-Drag. Excuse me. Then with that line selected, you're going to go to your Rotate tool, double click on your Rotate tool, and you're going to type in 15 for the angle, and you're going to hit Copy. Okay. And then once you're done with that, hit Command V and just, oh, no, don't do that. Why didn't I do that? Hold on, let me go back. Let me undo, undo, undo. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, rotate. 15, preview, copy. Okay, there should be a way you can copy and paste that. You shouldn't have to worry about doing this over and over again. Control D to duplicate. Okay, let's try this again. Command, remade, rotate 15% or 15 angle, copy, Command D. There we go. I was doing Command V. Command D, Command letter D as in dog will help you paste those in. I was doing it the wrong way. All right, so this is the color wheel starting. The only thing is we want 12 little squares here, and we have a lot more than that. So our angle has to be a little different. Can't be 15. So let's go back, and I think our angle, try 20 here. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 9. Okay, it's still too much. So let's try 40, 20, 40. That's too much. 25. Okay, so we got 1, 2, we're almost there. 25. We need this to be even though. Okay, so bear with me here. All right, this is all messed up here. I gotta find a number here. Let's do yeah, see, it's not working. Let's see, 1, 2. You could do a more exaggerate, it has more than 12 steps, but I'm just trying to get it so that it's a little simpler, a little bit more simple for you guys. So I am trying. Let's try 20 again here. Yeah, this is going to be more. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 6 more than what you guys need to do. So what I might need to do is just make the circle a little smaller. I think that might be the trick there to get the 12 steps. But instead of like having to go back and redo all that, I'm going to just go forward, and you can do a color wheel with more than 12 steps, but I would rather you guys do the 12 steps so that it's not getting confusing at some point. I wish I could have known the angle here to tell you guys. Let me see if I can get this a little different here. Let me erase this. Let me go back. Make it a little smaller. Unlock. Okay. Let's try this again. Might not work, but we'll see. Alt, Shift, drag. There we go. This isn't going to work here. We're getting close. It's just this is a 12 one, but now we have the angles are a little weird. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So because the angles are a little weird here, we'd have to kind of even stuff out. And I'm thinking maybe if this circle was a little smaller, that's probably all we would need to do. Huh, okay, interesting. We would just need to spread that out a little bit more. Let me go back to the wheel again. Let me make this a little smaller. Lock it. Maybe I don't have it quite centered. Here, let me see here. Hold on a second. It should be centered. I never had problems with this before, so I don't know if I just didn't have enough coffee today or what, but I'm having problems now. All right, let's do this again. Let's see. Yeah, it has to do with something with the circle. So let's start from scratch again here. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on 1 second. Object, offset path. At least you guys get to see all this again. Excuse me. Okay. I do have a video too that shows how to do this. So, you know, obviously, if I feel the need that clarification there for you guys, might help. All right, I'm just gonna stick with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16. Like I said, 28 seemed like the key number there. I just it's not quite equal. Yeah. So what I would do is I'd have to adjust some of the angles here so that they're equal. That's not too bad, but it would be nice for it to kind of work out. So I'm just kind of taking each line and rotating them slightly. so that they look equally distributed. Okay, sorry about that, guys. This is the first time I've ever had issues with this. Okay, so once you do that, all you have to do is you're going to Alt-Shift-Drag to make the line. Okay, so you did that. Control and D, Control click to select both layers. So we're just going to select both of these layers here. Oh, this is locked, so I can't do that. Control click. Or shift click, I should say. Shift click, not control click. Go to Pathfinder. And Pathfinder, if you don't have it on your screen, just go to Window. And what you're going to do is you're going to click on this Divide button. So it's the first lower left-hand side button. You're going to hide the wheel layer and then go into the line layer to delete the inside first triangle. So what we're going to do, it just combined all of these. Actually, that kind of worked out perfect. But we want to get rid of these little triangles in here. You can kind of see when you highlight over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide the wheel layer. Actually, we could probably just leave that and go to your lines layer. And wherever the first triangle starts, you're going to click on that layer and then shift click all the way at the bottom. And we're just going to delete those. We don't need those anymore, so they're in the middle. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to ungroup. So do a select all, make sure there's no locking layers. Go up to Object and choose Ungroup. That way, well, let's rotate too. We can rotate so that that top key is up there. That way you can get into each of these blocks to add the color. So red would be the starting point, 255, 0, and 0. Okay. The next one would be your orange. So just double click on, or click on that little keystone, click on that foreground color, and type in your RGB levels for that. And that would be 255. Now this would be orange, 255, 127, and 0. You can take off the stroke, you know, if you don't want the stroke after you're done, you can take that off. Double click on here. The yellow would be 255, 255, and 0. And so on and so forth. So you can kind of add those in there. You can get rid of that black stroke if you want afterwards, you know, so you don't have that line there. But that's one way that you can create your color wheel. So hopefully I didn't confuse you too much with how to do that. But, you know, there's so many different ways you can do that. You don't even have to do it in the traditional sense like this is showing. You know, go ahead and research other color wheels and, you know, see what you can come up with. All right. I will post that that source for the colors so that you have those color codes to look off of. All right. So going forward here, let's take a look at your assessment 1, color exploration part 2. So for this assessment, have fun creating 3 different abstract geometric compositions. Using just shapes, you can add lines if it enhances your composition. You don't have to stroke your shape. You don't have to stroke your shapes. In fact, try not to unless it adds meaning to your composition. Then color each composition with the following color combinations. So analogous, complementary, and monochromatic. I'm going to go back to Canvas so we can read through here. What you're going to do is read through the background. And again, this is the prompt. So for this assessment, have fun creating an abstract geometric composition using just shapes. Draw circles, squares, triangles, organic shapes, or any combination of them. Employ the principles of design, contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity to ensure sound design choices. Avoid strokes around your shapes. Do not go for something recognizable. The more abstract, the better. Once you have your composition complete, duplicate it to 3 total artboards. Color with composition with the following color schemes: analogous, complementary, and monochromatic. So you're going to be in Illustrator again, 8 inches by 8 inches, 3 artboards. Utilize an analogous color scheme for one composition. You may use tints and tones of the color for this composition. Utilize a complementary color scheme for one composition. All right. And then monochromatic. Let me see. Hold on a second, guys. I have an example from the assessment to show you. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, just kind of, we can clarify some things here. All right, so you're going to create your artboard based on the specs given, and then you could just do simple ovals like this and start putting in your color scheme based on that. My color libraries here. Based on that. Here we go. I wanted to show you guys something real quick too. Let me try to. Okay, so this is kind of cool. If you go to your color guide up here on your window, so go to color guide, this pops up, and this is kind of a neat, interesting tool to use. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose a color, okay, for your color scheme, and then you can click on this color guide to get complementary colors of that color. Or let's select complementary. You just click on this little down arrow, analogous colors that you can use, and then it gives you like a tint range here, so you can depending on how bright you want them or how dull that you set, a little bit less bright, you can use those. So for instance, this would be analogous, so I could use this type of, I'm going to do lighter here. That would be an example for analogous. Okay. All right, complementary. If I wanted to do, say, this color, and so I choose on that, and then I select that, and then I go to complementary 1, complementary 2. So I could go to, click on this actual color in the color guide, and it gives me my complementary colors in here. So it's kind of a nice guide. So all of these colors are, from here. Just different tints and hues that I'm placing in here. This will be a little darker here. All right, and then, excuse me. I'm having a hard day today with my voice. And then monochromatic, same thing. If you wanted to do, say, this purple, this dark purple, just go to your drop-down menu and choose monochromatic, click on your purple, and then it's going to give you the different tints and shades of that, and that's kind of what we're showing here. You don't have to do what I did as far as circles. You could go crazy, just keep it abstract and don't be too overcomplicated. And then, when you're done for both of these, you're going to save as, name it appropriately, but you're going to save as PDF, Adobe PDF. Okay. So that's kind of a neat way to access the different color schemes based on the color that you're choosing. So Color Guide is a really neat tool to use to help you choose colors that are a different color scheme, very easily. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we need to go over, but that's pretty much it. You guys will be doing the discussion. Like I said, I'll get back to you guys on that discussion. I'm not sure why. Like I said, this is coming up all the time, so I'm going to have to get somebody to help me with this, but okay, so I'm not sure why this is doing this, but if you can get started on the discussion, if you can get in here, go ahead and do it. If you have any questions, let me know, but I'm going to, in the meantime, get some help in regards to what I'm experiencing, so hopefully you guys won't have any issues with that. All right, well, that's pretty much where we're at for the lecture. I'm going to stop here because we're wrapping it up, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys too much with everything. We will be meeting again Wednesday. This is a different week, you guys. So this week, like I said, I appreciate you guys being flexible with me. Instead of meeting on Thursday for our multi-session, we're meeting Wednesday night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's Mountain Time. So Wednesday night for week 1 only. And that's just the multi-session. It's not mandatory. So, if you can't make it, no big deal. If we get people coming in and we have some really good feedback and questions being answered, I will record it and, give it to you guys so that you can, access that recording as well. All right, well, I look forward to meeting all of you and reading your intro posts, getting started with you guys. I'm excited about this class. I think there's so much more interesting things that will help you go forward with your career, and I'm excited to share my knowledge with you guys. All right, have a wonderful Labor Day, and I will be hopefully see you guys on the boards and meeting all of you very soon in the discussions. All right, have a great day.